Fire, you won't believe what happened next. Fire. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and leave your comments below. Your support means the world. Part 1. The Unthinkable Reunion. Is that him? Is that really him? Whispered Amelia, her heart seizing as she spotted Julian across the glittering ballroom of the charity gala. Little Ethan and Noah, identical in their sharp miniature suits, clung to her champagne-colored gown. Julian's gaze locked onto hers, an expression of utter shock etched on his face. 3 years. 3 agonizing years had passed, and now they stood face to face, with 2 small boys between them, boys who were the spitting image of their father. "Mommy, who's that man looking at you?" Noah innocently chirped, breaking the suffocating silence. Amelia didn't have time to answer. Julian was already striding towards them, his eyes fixed on the twins, the color draining from his face as he recognized his own features in those tiny faces. "Amelia, are they?" His voice was barely audible. "Yes, Julian, they are," she replied, lifting her chin with a defiant dignity. "Your sons. The sons you never wanted to hear about." Part 2. A broken promise and a mother's deception. 3 years earlier, in the vibrant spring of 2022, London's elite gathered at the opulent Ashford Manor. Julian Ashford, a successful 32-year-old property magnate, and Amelia Hayes, a talented 28-year-old interior designer, were celebrating their engagement. "I never thought I'd find someone like you," Julian whispered, pulling Amelia closer on the dance floor. "You're the best thing that's ever happened to me." Amelia smiled, discreetly touching her belly. She just confirmed her pregnancy that morning but wanted to wait for the perfect moment to tell him. "I love you, Julian. I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you." From a secluded corner, Penelope Ashford, Julian's 60-year-old widowed mother, watched with clear disapproval. She had never accepted Amelia, deeming her a gold digger unworthy of their esteemed family. "That girl is only after my son's money," she scoffed to her friend, Lady Beatrice. "She doesn't have the pedigree to be an Ashford. Give her a chance, Penelope. They seem so in love." "Love isn't enough. Julian needs someone of our standing." Days later, Amelia quietly left for her first appointment with Dr. Robert Sterling, an obstetrician. Walking through Kensington Gardens towards the clinic, she didn't notice the man photographing her from a dark car. "I need to confirm a few things before I tell Julian," Amelia explained to Dr. Sterling during the consultation. "I want it to be perfect when I break the news." "Everything appears to be in order, Ms. Hayes. We'll schedule an ultrasound for next week." Leaving the clinic, Amelia called her sister, Chloe. "I'm pregnant. I'm going to wait for the ultrasound before telling Julian." "Isn't it exciting? Do you think he'll be happy?" "Of course he will. He always talks about starting a family." Meanwhile, Penelope received the first photographs from her private investigator. "Who is this man she's meeting?" she demanded, staring at images of Amelia entering the clinic with Dr. Sterling. "I don't know yet, ma'am, but they've met 3 times this week." Very discreetly, Penelope smirked. "Keep digging. I'm sure my future daughter-in-law has secrets." That evening, during dinner, Julian noticed Amelia was unusually quiet. "Are you feeling all right? You've barely touched your food." "Just tired. I've been working a lot on the new project." "You should rest more. You look pale." Amelia smiled, thinking of the secret she held. "I have something important to tell you, but I want to wait a few days." "Is it bad?" Julian asked, concerned. "Quite the opposite. It's something beautiful." In the following days, Amelia's secret meetings with Dr. Sterling continued. Morning sickness forced her out of the house early, keeping Julian from seeing her unwell. Penelope's investigator documented every move, compiling a damning file that would soon reach Julian. One afternoon, while Amelia awaited her ultrasound results, Penelope invited Julian for coffee. "Son, there's something you need to know about Amelia." "Mother, please, don't start with your suspicions again." "These aren't suspicions. These are facts," Penelope stated, sliding an envelope of photographs across the table. "Your fiancé is cheating on you." Julian opened the envelope with trembling hands, seeing images of Amelia entering and leaving a building with an unknown man. In one photo, the man had his hand on Amelia's back, guiding her inside. "There must be an explanation," Julian murmured. "She's been seeing him in secret for weeks," Penelope insisted. "What more explanation do you need?" That night, when Amelia returned home, she found Julian waiting, a grim expression on his face and the photographs scattered across the coffee table. "Can you explain who this man is and why you've been seeing him in secret?" Julian's voice was cold, barely containing a fury Amelia had never seen in him. Amelia stared at the photos, recognizing Dr. Sterling and the clinic entrance. Her heart pounded as she searched for the right words. "Julian, it's not what it seems. He's my doctor, Dr. Sterling." "Your doctor? And why all the secrecy? Why didn't you tell me you were sick?" Julian picked up a photo where the doctor's hand was on Amelia's back. "Doctors don't touch their patients like that. He was helping me up the stairs because I felt dizzy that morning." Amelia tried to approach him, but Julian stepped back. "If you'd just let me explain. I gave you everything, Amelia. My trust, my love, my future." Julian slammed his fist on the table. "Is this how you repay me?" Tears streamed down Amelia's face. This wasn't the moment she'd imagined revealing her pregnancy. "I'm pregnant, Julian. Dr. Sterling is my obstetrician." Julian stood still for a moment, then let out a bitter laugh. "Pregnant? And you expect me to believe it's mine? After weeks of secret meetings with this man? Of course it's yours," Amelia exclaimed, now openly sobbing. "I wanted to wait until the first ultrasound to surprise you." "A surprise?" Julian picked up the photos with trembling hands. "The surprise was on me when I discovered my fiancé was cheating." "Please, Julian, you have to believe me." Amelia pulled an envelope from her purse. "Look, these are the pregnancy tests. I'm 8 weeks along. We've been together all this time." Julian barely glanced at the envelope, his wounded pride blocking any explanation. "My mother was right about you. You were just trying to trap me." His voice broke. "I want you out of my house tonight. Julian, please, don't go. I never want to see you again." Amelia, shattered, went to her room to pack her belongings. With trembling hands, she packed the essentials, unknowingly leaving the envelope with the ultrasound she'd picked up that afternoon on the dresser. It clearly showed 2 small gestational sacs. As she finished packing, her phone rang. It was Dr. Sterling. "Ms. Hayes, I'm sorry to call you at this hour, but I've just rechecked your results and wanted to confirm the news personally. You're not expecting 1 baby, but 2. It's twins." Amelia sank onto the bed, overwhelmed by the news. Twins. Now she'd have to raise 2 babies alone, because the man she loved hadn't trusted her. Part 3. A mother's strength and a father's ignorance. The following weeks were a blur of pain for Amelia. She temporarily moved in with Chloe in her small apartment while she decided what to do. "You should try talking to him again," Chloe suggested one afternoon. "Maybe he's calmer now." "I tried, Chloe," Amelia responded, caressing her barely visible belly. "I've called him 10 times. I even went to his office, but his secretary said he gave strict orders not to let me in." "And his mother? Maybe she..." Amelia shook her head. "Penelope is the last person who would help me. I'm sure she orchestrated all of this." Meanwhile, at Ashford Developments, Julian immersed himself in work to forget. His friend and business partner, David Thorne, watched him with concern. "You're killing yourself, mate," David commented, entering his office one night. "It's 10 o'clock and you're still here." "We have the Manchester project to close," Julian replied dryly. "This isn't about Manchester. It's about Amelia. Haven't you thought that maybe you should have listened to her?" Julian looked up, his eyes red. "She cheated on me, David. End of story. Things aren't always what they seem. Did you see the pregnancy tests she mentioned? She probably wasn't even pregnant. It was just an excuse." In her desperation, Amelia decided to write Julian a letter, explaining everything, including a copy of the ultrasound showing the twins. She sent it certified to his office. 3 days later, she received a call. Amelia? It's Penelope Ashford. The older woman's cold voice made Amelia shiver. I received your letter for Julian. That letter was private. Amelia protested. My son is devastated by your betrayal. I won't allow you to torment him with lies. They're not lies. I'm expecting his children, his twins. He has a right to know. The only right he has is to move on with his life without you, Penelope retorted. I suggest you do the same. If you really are pregnant, you might as well look for the real father. Before Amelia could respond, Penelope hung up. That was the moment Amelia understood she would never reach Julian through his mother. Heartbroken, but with determination growing within her, Amelia made a decision. She called her parents in Bath. Dad, I'm coming home. I need your help. 2 days later, Amelia left London, carrying little more than her clothes, her designs, and the 2 tiny hearts beating within her. As the train sped towards Bath, she swore she would do everything possible to give her children a life full of love, with or without their father. At Ashford Manor, Julian found a crumpled, unopened envelope at the bottom of a drawer, unaware it contained proof of the children he never knew he would have. Part 4. 3 years later, a mother's triumph and a father's regret. The morning sun streamed through the window of Amelia's small studio. Pencil in hand, she reviewed project blueprints while listening to the laughter of Ethan and Noah in the garden, where they played under Chloe's watchful eye. 3 years had passed since that night her life changed forever. 3 years of struggle, tears, but also of a love she never imagined possible. Mommy, look what I made, Ethan cried, rushing in with a colorful drawing. It's beautiful, my love, Amelia replied, hugging her almost 3-year-old son. Is this our house? Yes, and here we all are. You, me, Noah, and Aunt Chloe. Amelia noticed an empty space in the drawing. And this blank space? Ethan looked down. It's for my daddy, when he comes to live with us. Amelia's heart ached. Despite her efforts, the twins were starting to ask about their father more frequently. Ethan, we've talked about this. Your daddy lives very far away and he doesn't want us. The boy's eyes, identical to Julian's, filled with tears. Of course, he would if he knew you. Amelia hugged her son. It's complicated, my sweet. Meanwhile, in London, Julian Ashford signed documents for his company's international expansion. Across from him, David watched his friend with concern. Congratulations, you've just become a global entrepreneur, David said without much enthusiasm. How do we celebrate? With more work. Julian barely smiled. We have the Paris project to close tomorrow. Julian, when was the last time you did anything but work? Don't start, David. It's been 3 years, mate. Not a single date or night out. You're turning into a robot. Julian put the documents in his briefcase. I'm fine as I am. Your mother would be worried if she saw you like this. The mention of Penelope, who had passed away a year ago from a stroke, further clouded Julian's face. My mother wanted to see me succeed, and that's what I'm doing. In Bath, Amelia had successfully established her own interior design studio, specializing in sustainable spaces. Her innovative approach was starting to attract important clients, allowing her to support her sons with dignity. That afternoon, while working on a new project, she received an email that would once again change the course of her life. Chloe, you won't believe this, she exclaimed, calling her sister. I've been invited to present my work at the Children's Education Charity Gala in London. Chloe entered the office with Noah in her arms. That's incredible. Who's organizing the event? Amelia paled as she read the name of the main sponsor, Ashford Developments. It's Julian's company. Oh, Chloe put Noah down. What are you going to do? I can't go. I can't risk seeing him. Noah, now free, approached his mother. Who's Julian, Mommy? Amelia and Chloe exchanged worried glances. He's a man Mommy knows, my love, Amelia replied carefully. That night, after putting the twins to bed, Amelia and Chloe discussed the situation. This could be the opportunity you need to establish yourself nationally, Chloe argued. What if I run into him? What if he sees the children? It's been 3 years, Amy. Maybe it's time he knew the truth. The children deserve to know their father. The same man who refused to listen to me? Who accused me of infidelity without proof? People change. And besides, what are the chances he'll even be at that event? Large companies sponsor hundreds of galas a year. With doubts, but determined not to miss the professional opportunity, Amelia accepted the invitation. In the following weeks, she prepared her presentation while Chloe helped with the twins. Are you taking the children? Chloe asked as they reviewed the gala wardrobe. I have no choice. Mom and Dad are traveling, and I can't leave them with anyone else for 2 days. In London, Julian reviewed the list of events sponsored by his company. The Children's Education Charity Gala is this weekend, his assistant commented. Will you be attending, Mr. Ashford? It wasn't in my plans, Julian replied absently. Your presence would be important. The mayor will be there, and several potential investors for the Manchester project. Julian sighed. All right, confirm my attendance. Part 5, The Unveiling. The day of the gala arrived. Amelia, nervous but elegant in a champagne-colored gown, entered the hotel ballroom with Ethan and Noah, impeccable in their small formal suits. Remember what I told you, she whispered. You have to be very well behaved because Mommy is going to show her work to important people. Yes, Mommy, the twins replied in unison. Across the room, Julian conversed with potential clients, unaware that his life was about to take an unexpected turn. As he excused himself to head to the bar, his gaze met a familiar figure. It can't be, he murmured, immediately recognizing Amelia. But what froze his blood were the 2 identical small boys accompanying her. With blue eyes and features he saw every morning in the mirror. In that moment, as their eyes met across the ballroom, time seemed to stop for both of them. Mommy, who's that man looking at you? Noah's innocent voice broke the spell. Amelia, her heart pounding frantically, could only squeeze her son's hands as she watched Julian cross the room towards them. Each step he took seemed to be in slow motion. The murmurs of the gala faded, and only the sound of her own pulse remained in her ears. Amelia, Julian uttered when he finally reached them, his voice barely a whisper. I didn't know you'd be here. His eyes didn't leave the twins, who looked at him with childlike curiosity. The resemblance was undeniable, from their blue eyes to the shape of their jawlines. Evidently there's a lot you don't know, Amelia responded with a calm she didn't feel. These children, Julian knelt to be at the boy's height. What are their names? Ethan and Noah, Ethan answered confidently, extending his tiny hand. We're 3. Do you know my mommy? Julian took the small hand, visibly moved. Yes, I know your mommy. We're old friends. Amelia noticed several people beginning to look at them with interest. This isn't the place or the time, she said in a low voice. I have a presentation in 20 minutes. Please, we need to talk. The urgency in Julian's voice was palpable. You can't just show up with my children and then leave. Just then, David approached, immediately recognizing the situation. Julian, I was looking for you. He stopped when he saw Amelia. Amelia, what a surprise. His eyes fell on the twins, and he understood everything in an instant. Hello, David. Amelia greeted with a faint smile. It's been a while. David, always quick to react, addressed the children. Hello, champs. I'm David, your mommy's friend. Would you like to see the chocolate fountain they have at the dessert table? The twins looked at Amelia, silently asking for permission. You can go, but stay where I can see you, she agreed. And no getting your suits dirty. I'll watch them while you 2 talk, David offered, winking at Julian. There's a quiet terrace over there. With the children momentarily distracted, Amelia followed Julian to the terrace. The cool night air contrasted with the heat of the tension between them. Why did you never tell me? Julian's question broke the silence. I had a right to know I had children. Amelia let out a bitter laugh. Tell you? Don't you remember the last time I tried to tell you something? You accused me of infidelity and threw me out of your life. I was hurt, confused. And I was pregnant with your children, Julian. Amelia struggled to maintain her composure. I tried to tell you that night, remember? But you preferred to believe your mother's manipulations. There were photos, Amelia. I saw you going in and out with that man. My obstetrician, Julian. Dr. Sterling. The man who helped me bring your children into the world because you weren't there. Julian ran a hand through his hair, visibly affected. When you left, I tried to contact you, Amelia continued. I sent you letters, called your office. Do you know who intercepted everything? Your mother. She confirmed it herself. My mother. The disbelief on Julian's face was genuine. No, she wouldn't do something like that. She did. She told me directly that she wouldn't allow me to torment her son with lies, to move on with my life, and to find the real father. Julian leaned on the railing, trying to process everything. 3 years, Julian. 3 years I've raised our children alone. They've asked about you. I told them you lived far away because what else could I tell them? That their father thought I was capable of cheating on him? That he preferred pride to the truth? You have to believe me. Julian looked at her with pleading eyes. If I had known you were pregnant, if I had seen the children. But you didn't. Amelia cut him off. And now I have a life in Bath, a career, a routine with my children. You can't just show up and expect everything to change. They're my children too, Amelia. Before she could respond, Julian's phone rang insistently. With a frustrated gesture, he took it out to silence it. But upon seeing the number, his expression changed. I have to answer. It's from St. Thomas Hospital. Amelia nodded, giving him space as he took the call. She watched as Julian's face paled with each word. I'm on my way, he finally said, hanging up. It's my mother. She's had a stroke. She's in the emergency room. I'm so sorry, Amelia responded sincerely despite everything. I have to go. But this isn't over. Julian looked at her intensely. Please, give me your address, your phone number. Don't disappear again. I wasn't the one who disappeared the first time. Amelia sighed, but took a card from her purse. My contact information. We'll be at the Hotel Regent until tomorrow, and then we'll return to Bath. Julian took the card as if it were a treasure. I'll call you as soon as I know something about my mother. Please, wait for my call. Good luck, Julian. I hope your mother recovers. As she watched him rush away, Amelia felt a mix of emotions she couldn't name. Pain for lost time, anger for the injustice, but also a spark of something she had tried to extinguish for 3 years. When she returned with the twins, she found David entertaining them with napkin tricks. Are you all right, Miss Hayes? David asked with genuine concern. Julian left like a hurricane. His mother is in the hospital, she replied, gathering the children. And I have a presentation to give in 5 minutes. The children can stay with me if you need to focus. Amelia looked at David, evaluating the offer. Children, would you like to stay a little longer with Uncle David while Mommy works? Yes, both responded, delighted with their new friend. Thank you, David. Amelia gave him a tired smile. For everything. You're welcome, he replied, observing the little ones. They're identical to him, you know? Not just physically. Ethan has that same furrowed brow when he concentrates. Amelia nodded, a lump in her throat. 3 lost years that no one can give us back, she whispered, before heading to the podium for her presentation, knowing that nothing would ever be the same after this night. Part 6. A Mother's Confession and a Father's Redemption. The corridor of St. Thomas Hospital seemed endless as Julian walked towards his mother's room. The doctor had just informed him that Penelope had briefly regained consciousness, although her condition remained critical. Upon entering, he found his mother connected to several monitors, her face paler and more aged than he remembered. Seeing him, Penelope tried to speak. Julian, my son. Her voice was barely audible. Don't strain yourself, mother. Julian gently took her hand. You need to rest. No. Penelope weakly squeezed his fingers. I need to tell you something before it's too late. Penelope's breathing became labored. A nurse entered to check her vital signs, but she gestured for them to leave them alone. Amelia, Penelope began. Julian's heart skipped a beat at the name. What about Amelia, mother? She was telling the truth. Tears began to stream down Penelope's wrinkled cheeks. She was pregnant. They were your children. I know, Julian replied, feeling a mix of pain and anger. I saw them tonight. They're twins. Penelope closed her eyes, as if the weight of guilt was too much. I intercepted her letters, her calls, she confessed. She tried to tell you many times. I prevented it. Why, mother? Julian's voice broke. Why did you do this to me? Why did you do this to us? I thought I was protecting you. Penelope coughed weakly. I believed she wasn't good enough for you, that she would take you away from me. I was selfish, son. So selfish. Julian sank into the chair beside the bed, overwhelmed by the revelation. 3 years lost. 3 years without seeing his children grow up. Without holding them when they took their first steps or said their first words. I forgive you, mother, he finally said, though the words tasted bitter in his mouth. But I need you to understand the damage you've caused. I know, Penelope whispered. Find your children, Julian. Rebuild your family. It's the only thing that matters. The following days were a blur for Julian. Penelope worsened rapidly and passed away 3 days later, leaving him with a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. Pain for her loss, anger for her betrayal, and a desperate yearning to know his children. After the funeral, which was attended by partners and friends, but where Julian felt more alone than ever, he made a decision. He called Amelia. I need to see them, he said without preamble when she answered. Please. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. I'm sorry about your mother, Amelia finally responded. David told me. Thank you. But I need to see my children, Amelia. Before she died, my mother confessed everything. How she intercepted your attempts to contact me. How she manipulated me into doubting you. I'm not asking you to forgive me, just to let me meet them. Another silence. We'll be at Hyde Park tomorrow at 4, Amelia said. The children play there every day. Thank you, I'll be there. Part 7, Building Bridges. The journey to Bath the next day was the longest of his life. When he arrived at the park, he sat on a bench from which he could observe the playground area. He didn't have to wait long. Amelia arrived punctually, with Ethan and Noah running ahead of her towards the swings. Julian watched them for almost half an hour, absorbing every detail. How Ethan was more cautious climbing the slide while Noah fearlessly launched himself down. How they shared without arguing, sometimes communicating only with glances, as if they had a secret language between them. When he finally approached, he did so with his heart in his hand. Amelia saw him first and said something to the children, who stopped to look at him with curiosity. Hello, Julian greeted, kneeling to be at their height. Do you remember me? We met at the party in London. Ethan hid slightly behind Amelia, while Noah stepped forward. You're Mommy's friend, Noah said. The one who had to leave quickly. Yes, that's me. Julian smiled, though he felt he could break at any moment. My name is Julian. I'm Noah and that's Ethan, the little one replied, pointing to his brother. Do you want to play with us? Over the following weeks, Julian traveled regularly to Bath. He started with brief visits in the park, then lunches, until the children felt comfortable enough for him to visit them at Amelia's house. Each visit was a discovery. He learned that Ethan loved to draw, creating fantastic worlds with his crayons, while Noah preferred to build things, always seeking to understand how objects worked. He saw in them not only his physical features but also his gestures, his ways of thinking. They are so much like you, Amelia commented one afternoon while the children napped. Not just physically. Ethan has your sensitivity, and Noah your determination. I've missed so much, Julian responded hoarsely. Their first steps, their first words. Noah said mommy first, but Ethan said water, Amelia recalled with a melancholic smile. He was always more practical. These conversations became more frequent, though never easy. There was too much pain between them, too many open wounds. One afternoon, while Julian played with the children in the garden, Amelia received a call that left her visibly worried. "What's wrong?" Julian asked when the children were distracted with their toys. "The Birmingham client canceled the project," she replied, running a hand through her hair. "It was my biggest contract yet. I was counting on that income for—" "Let me help you," Julian offered immediately. Amelia shook her head. "I don't want your money, Julian." "I'm not offering you money," he clarified. "I'm offering you contacts. I know several developers who would be interested in your sustainable approach. I can put you in touch with them, but the credit will be entirely yours." Amelia looked at him, surprised. She expected him to try and solve everything with money, as the old Julian would have done. "Thank you," she finally said. "That would be helpful." In the following days, Julian kept his promise. Not only did he connect her with potential clients, but he respected her space, letting her handle the negotiations her way. When Amelia secured a new contract, larger than the previous one, he sincerely congratulated her, without trying to take credit for the success. This small gesture, more than any words or promises, began to open a crack in the wall Amelia had built around herself. One night, after putting the children to bed, they sat on the porch under a starry sky. "They've grown so much," Julian commented. "And you've done an incredible job with them, Amelia." "I tried," she responded. "Every day I just wanted them to be happy, despite everything." "Do you think someday you can forgive me?" Julian asked, looking directly at her. "Not for me, but for them, so they can have a complete family." Amelia gazed at the stars for a long moment before answering. "It's not just about forgiving, Julian. It's about trusting. And trust, once broken, is very difficult to rebuild." "I know," Julian took a breath. "But I'm willing to try day after day, for as long as it takes. For them and for you, if you'll let me." Amelia didn't answer, but she also didn't pull away when Julian gently took her hand in the darkness. It was a small step, but perhaps the beginning of a new path for all of them. Part 8. A New Beginning. Autumn painted the park trees in warm colors, where Julian pushed Noah on the swing, while Ethan built a sandcastle nearby. These Sunday afternoons had become a routine over the past few months, a moment the twins eagerly awaited all week. "Higher! Higher!" Noah shouted with laughter. "If you go higher, you'll reach the moon," Julian responded, enjoying his son's crystal-clear laughter. Amelia watched them from a nearby bench with mixed feelings. Seeing her children so happy with their father filled her heart with joy, but also with a certain fear. What if Julian disappeared from their lives as abruptly as he had entered? "They look happy," Chloe commented, sitting beside her. "All three of them." "I know," Amelia sighed. "Julian has been incredible with them these past few months." "And with you," Amelia shrugged. "Respectful, patient, different from the man I knew." "People change, Amy, sometimes for the better." That night, after Chloe took the children to her house for a sleepover with their aunt, Julian and Amelia had dinner alone on the small patio of her house. It was the first time they had been completely alone since the reconciliation. "I have a proposal for you," Julian said, pouring 2 glasses of wine. "A professional one and a personal one." Amelia looked at him with curiosity. "I'm listening." "I've been thinking about redirecting part of Ashford Developments towards sustainable projects. No one does what you do, Amelia. Your vision for spaces that respect the environment, without sacrificing beauty or functionality, is exactly what the market needs." "Are you offering me a job?" she asked, surprised. "I'm offering you a partnership," Julian corrected. "Your firm and mine collaborating as equals. You'd maintain your creative autonomy and your name. I'd provide capital and contacts." Amelia took a sip of wine, considering the offer. "And the personal proposal?" Julian took a deep breath. "Come back to London. With me. With the children. I'm not asking us to go back to what we were before. Just that we give ourselves the opportunity to be a family, in one way or another. Julian, my life is here. My business, my clients, the children's school." "I know." And I'll respect your decision if you choose to stay. I'll continue coming every weekend. I'll continue being a part of their lives as I have been. But think about it, Amelia. The children are asking more and more why I don't live with you. And I want to wake up every morning and see them have breakfast, take them to school, help them with their homework. It's not that simple. I never said it was. Julian took her hand across the table. I'm just saying it's worth trying. The following weeks were a time of reflection for Amelia. She observed how Julian had seamlessly integrated into the twins' lives, how they ran into his arms every time they saw him arrive. She also noticed the small gestures, how he remembered that Ethan didn't like onions, how he knew exactly what to do when Noah had a tantrum. Meanwhile, the twins' birthday was approaching. They would be 5, and Julian insisted on organizing the celebration. Let me do this, he pleaded. I missed 4 birthdays. Amelia agreed, moved by his sincerity. What she didn't expect was the magnitude of what Julian was planning. On their birthday, a private bus picked up Amelia, the twins, and Chloe to take them to London. Where are we going? Amelia asked, surprised. It's a surprise, Julian replied with an enigmatic smile. When the bus stopped in front of the Royal Botanic Gardens at Kew, the twins screamed with excitement. The place had been specially decorated for the occasion, with balloons and colorful ribbons marking a path among the exotic plants. Look, mommy dinosaurs, Noah exclaimed, pointing to some figures among the vegetation. And spaceships, Ethan added, equally excited. Julian had made sure to include his son's 2 passions: dinosaurs for Noah and space for Ethan. The path led to a clearing where their school friends and their parents awaited, a gift table, and a planet-shaped cake with astronaut dinosaurs. This is too much, Julian, Amelia whispered, visibly moved. Nothing is too much for them, he responded. And wait till you see what comes next. The party was filled with laughter, games, and the overflowing joy of the twins. When it was time to blow out the candles, Amelia noticed something strange. Ethan and Noah exchanged a knowing glance before asking everyone for silence. We want to say something before blowing out the candles, Ethan announced with his serious little voice. Noah continued, Thank you all for coming to our party, and special thanks to our mommy and our daddy. The word daddy resonated in the air. It was the first time the children had called Julian that in public. Amelia felt tears well up in her eyes. Julian, visibly moved, knelt to hug his sons. Thank you, champs, he murmured, his voice choked. Later, when most of the guests had left, Amelia found a moment alone with Julian. Did you ask them to call you that? No, he replied sincerely. It was their idea. Chloe helped them practice. They wanted it to be a surprise. Amelia nodded, processing the information. They've been asking a lot lately why you don't live with us. Why other families have a mommy and daddy in the same house. And what did you tell them? The truth. That sometimes adults need time to sort things out. Julian looked at her intently. And us? How much more time do we need? Amelia didn't answer immediately. Instead, she searched in her purse and pulled out a small box. I've kept this for almost 4 years, she said, opening it to reveal the engagement ring Julian had given her. I couldn't get rid of it, though many times I thought about it. Julian took the box with trembling hands. Why did you keep it? Because despite everything, all the pain and anger, I never stopped loving you. The words came out like a confession, and that scared me more than anything else. Amelia, Julian took a step towards her. I can't change the past. I can't get back the lost years. But I can promise you that every day we have left, I will live trying to make you and our children happy. Not with money or luxuries, but with respect, trust, and love. He knelt, holding the ring, not with a grand gesture, but with humble sincerity. Will you give us a second chance? Amelia looked at her children, playing in the distance with Chloe, and then at the man kneeling in front of her, a man different from the one she had known, a man who had learned from his mistakes. Yes, she finally replied with tears in her eyes. We deserve it. As Julian slipped the ring back onto her finger, she felt a circle close. It wasn't an end, but a new beginning. A beginning built on stronger foundations than before, on hard but necessary truths, on a love that had survived distance and pain. Part 9. A future rebuilt. That night, as the twins slept exhausted after so much excitement, Amelia made another important decision. "I'll accept your proposal," she told Julian. Both of them, the professional and the personal. Julian's face lit up with a smile Amelia had missed for years. "You won't regret it. We'll make it work, I promise." "I know," she responded, resting her head on his shoulder. "This time we'll do it together." 1 year after their reunion, the garden of the renovated Ashford Hayes residence glowed under the spring sun. Pots with multicolored flowers, designed by Amelia, adorned the space where their loved ones gathered to celebrate a moment many believed impossible just a year ago. The twins, now 6 years old, ran among the guests in their identical suits, solemnly holding the rings with rehearsed seriousness. Ethan, ever responsible, constantly watched to make sure Noah didn't lose his while they played. "Are you nervous?" Chloe asked, adjusting Amelia's simple white dress. "Curiously, no," she replied calmly. "This time it feels right." In another room, David helped Julian with his tie. "I never thought I'd see you giving marriage another chance," David commented. "Especially after how you shut yourself off from the world these past few years." "Me neither," Julian confessed. "But miracles exist, my friend, and I have 2 living proofs of that running around out there, plus a woman who had a heart big enough to forgive me." The ceremony was intimate, very different from the ostentatious celebration Penelope had planned years ago. Only family and close friends, in the garden of their shared home, with the children as protagonists alongside them. When it was time for the vows, Julian took Amelia's hands in front of everyone. "6 years ago, I thought love was something simple, something to be taken for granted," he began. "Today I know it's the most valuable and fragile thing there is. Because of my pride and my blindness, I almost lost the opportunity to form the family I always dreamed of. I almost lost the 3 greatest treasures of my life." He looked at the twins who watched him with adoration. "I promise that every day I will wake up grateful for this second chance. That I will never take for granted the gift of watching our children grow up together. That I will listen to you, respect you, and love you with all that I am. Amelia, it took losing everything to value what truly matters, and I swear I will never forget it." With contained tears, Amelia took a deep breath before speaking. "When I left London 4 years ago, I carried a broken heart and 2 lives inside me." Her voice was soft but firm. "I learned to be strong out of necessity, to build a home for my children, to find beauty even in the darkest moments." She took Julian's hands more firmly. "For a long time I believed that strength was in independence, in not needing anyone. Now I know that true strength is in daring to love again, in forgiving not only others but oneself. Julian, I choose you not because I need you, but because together we are better. Because our children deserve to see that love, true love, can overcome even the most painful mistakes." When they exchanged rings, the twins applauded enthusiastically, causing laughter among the guests. The celebration that followed was simple but filled with authentic joy. During the toast, David raised his glass. "To Julian, the most stubborn man I know, who finally found his way back home," he smiled. "And to Amelia, whose strength and dignity never ceased to inspire us. But above all, to Ethan and Noah, who made the impossible possible, bringing their stubborn parents back together." Laughter and applause resonated as the twins clinked their juice glasses with pride. Chloe took the microphone next. "For years ago, I saw my sister arrive in Bath with a broken heart, but her determination intact," she recalled. "I watched her build an empire from scratch, raise 2 wonderful children, and never, not once, did I hear her give up on her dreams. Amelia, you were always my hero, and now I see that you are also an example that forgiving is not weakness, but the greatest act of courage that exists." As evening fell, when most of the guests had left, the new Ashford Hayes family shared a quiet moment on the porch. The The twins dozed on their parents' laps, exhausted after so much excitement. "A year," Julian murmured, stroking Amelia's hair. "A year since I saw you at that gala and my world was turned upside down. For the better, I hope," she smiled. "For the better." Julian kissed her forehead. "You know, sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I had opened that envelope with the ultrasound, if I had answered your calls." "We can't change the past, Julian." Amelia put her hand on his. "But these 4 years taught me something important. Everything happens when it's supposed to happen. Maybe we needed that time apart to appreciate what we had." "Maybe," he conceded. "Though I still regret every moment I lost with them. The important thing is that you're here now." Amelia looked at him tenderly. "And there are many firsts yet to live." "Like what?" "Like their first day of primary school. Their first bike ride without training wheels. Their first lost tooth." Amelia paused significantly, taking Julian's hand and gently placing it on her belly. "Or perhaps, the first baby you'll see born from the very beginning." Julian's eyes widened with surprise and emotion. "Are you? This time you'll be part of everything from the start." Julian hugged her carefully not to wake the twins, feeling his heart might burst with happiness. "I love you, Amelia Hayes Ashford. You and our 3 children. And I love you, Julian Ashford. Forever." As the sun set over London, bathing the garden in golden hues, the couple contemplated the future they had rebuilt together. A future that, despite being born of pain and separation, now shone with the promise of better days, shared laughter, and above all, a love that had proven stronger than pride, more enduring than resentment, and more valuable than any material fortune. Because in the end, as Julian and Amelia discovered, true wealth was not in bank accounts or constructed buildings, but in the small moments they built together day by day, in the complicit gaze of their children, and in the second chance they had the courage to give each other. What do you think of this version? Does it capture all the elements you were looking for? Let me know your thoughts.